Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Pensado's Place. Our guest is the epitome of hustle. You're going to learn how just utilizing your grind, having a focus can lead you to producing Migos and Chief Keef and Kevin Gates and way more people than that. Traumatone is our guest. But first, Pensado's Place loves to pull the audio community together when needed, and it's needed right now. Our good buddy Cliff Goodlow, this is a guy who has been at every major event, and tech awards and Pensado awards and things around the country. He's got a battle on his hands, and it's an advanced form of prostate cancer. He is in good spirits. His surgery is taking place just about when you see this show, July 16th. He's got a GoFundMe page. You can see it right there. People are contributing. We want to see the community come together. He's an avid audio engineer and does mastering and all kinds of things. He has a heart of gold, and he's one of you and one of us. So if you get a chance, $50, $20, whatever it is, shoot it to the GoFundMe page. Let's make Cliff Goodlow's story a good one, and we appreciate that. Also, they're back. The 1500 Sound Academy, August 3rd, classes back online, classes in person, and they are doing amazing things with curriculum. We've got a lot of announcements for you there. This school is leading and being cutting edge, and I'm so proud of them. And from our friends at Sweetwater, we've got a new person doing sound advice, Rachel Leonard. She's going to give you some tips on recording vocals. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, my name is Rachel Leonard, and I work at Sweetwater Studios. If you didn't know, Sweetwater has a beautiful studio facility on our campus, and I'm lucky to work there every day. I've been working in audio for a while now, and I've been a music nerd my whole life. And I'm gonna share some tips with you. In this edition of Sound Advice, I'm gonna talk to you today about some tips and tricks for tracking vocals. When working with a vocalist, there are a few things to think about on the technical end as well as on the performance and production end. First up is mic choice. When you're working with a new singer, it's a good idea to try out a few different mic options to see which one complements their voice the best. You can set up a few mics that have differing sonic qualities and have your vocalist sing the first verse and chorus of a song to compare and decide which one is most suited for their unique sound and style. For more aggressive vocals like screams or even some rappers, you might want to try an SM7B to tame some of the intensities that come with their screaming or yelling. If your mic or preamp has a high-pass filter on it, you should use that to your advantage to ditch some of the low-end rumble that isn't useful in a vocal track. It's better to do this on the recording end to save yourself the work later. I know, everyone says, just fix it in post, but then guess what? You're the one sitting there doing all the post. But you can always add more if you get to the mix stage and realize you kind of have more you need to cut out. It's easy to throw it in your DAW, but save yourself the time up front in every step that you can. For all of your plosives that come from loud P's, B's, K's, and more, you can put a pop filter in front of your mic. The pop filter will minimize these bursts of air from becoming too distracting to the listener, and it'll keep you from having to do more editing later. A pop filter is also a great way to help keep a singer from getting too close to the mic. You'll want to keep your singer about 5 to 6 inches away from the mic to avoid proximity effect. For louder singers, you might need to back them up even more depending on how much power they have. Sometimes you just can't get them that close to the mic if they're really loud belters. If you're struggling with too much sibilance, it might be worth angling the mic so that it's a bit off axis to pick up less of the S's and T's. If that still doesn't fix the problem, it might just mean you need to try a different microphone. You may want to consider compression on the vocal on the way into the box for more consistent dynamics, especially if you've got a song that goes from a very quiet section to a very loud spot. If you do compress on the way in, just be careful not to over compress, because of course you can always add more compression in later in the mix stage, but you can't take any away. For vocals, the performance can make or break a song. You'll want to do everything you can to help the vocalist get the best takes possible within their skill level. They should definitely warm up before recording real takes because their voice will be more consistent and strong once they're all warmed up. A lot of singers already have a warm-up routine that they use to get prepared to sing. If your singer is new and doesn't really have one, you can have them sing the song all the way through once or twice, just as a warm-up take. They're not really serious takes, but it just kind of gets them in the zone and gets their voice working. Be careful not to push them too hard at the beginning to prevent them from burning out their voice too early. You'll want to make sure you take breaks, especially if the singer has a lot of material to get through. If possible, it's a really good idea to spread vocals out over a couple days of tracking. If you're doing overdubs, you can trade off between doing vocals and guitars, for example, so the vocalist has some regular breaks to rest their voice. Just like with any other musician, a lot of tracking can become a bit of a mind game. Vocalists can get in their own head and prevent themselves from getting the best takes that you know they have in them. It's important to keep them comfortable and make sure they stay in the zone. Sometimes dimming the lights or adding some mood lighting or candles or, even tapestries or something can help keep the vocalist in a creative space. Having water on hand is always a good idea, as well as things like hot tea or hot water with honey, maybe even the Vocalese spray. Anything to keep the throat warm is really helpful. If you're playing producer, consider doubles or layered vocals to help fill out a section or thicken up a vocal part. If you want your chorus to hit a bit harder than the rest of the song, an easy way to achieve that with vocals is to triple stack your lead vocal and then pan them left, right, and center. You'll want to make sure you don't just duplicate your original lead vocal, but actually do second and third takes of the lead. It'll kind of fill out the song a little more naturally, and it'll keep phasing issues from happening. Harmonies are also a great way to fill out a part or add some extra ear candy. If your vocalist doesn't know how to write harmonies, you can use your tuning software, such as Melodyne, to create a harmony for them, and then you can play it back for them to learn and repeat in your tracking session. Then you'll be able to track the parts more accurately and create some really cool vocal stacks. There's 1,000 different ways to track vocals, but hopefully that gives you some new ideas to try next time you're working with vocalists. I'm Rachel Leonard, and this has been Sweetwater's Sound Advice.
So now you got all that. Like and subscribe, hit us on our socials, sign up for our newsletter. Lots of information coming to you this summer. You are going to be a beneficiary of all we do and all that you allow us to do. And without further ado, this guy literally sent out beats, made his own hustle, made connections, got discovered. He's got a trippy north-south way of doing music. We enjoyed meeting him. We think you will too. Here's Trauma Tone. Trauma, what's up?
And not so much. How you guys doing?
Man, we're good, man. Let me ask you a quick question. Part of what's fascinating to me is people's beginnings. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got Chief Keef, Migos. There's so many records and current things that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes folks that come from, it's not always folks that come from LA and New York. You're from Charlottesville, Virginia, right?
Yeah, right.
Did that inform your musical sense and the way you approach it and stuff like that?
I guess so, kind of, because like being from Virginia, it's like right in the middle, so we kind of get a taste of everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I say so. Just as far as like me, like getting into the industry, as far as making connections and stuff, I more so use the internet and kind of like got connected that way.
That's part of how you do it. And there's a way to do that right, and there's a way to do it wrong, right?
Right, for sure.
What's the right way?
I guess when you say the right way, as far as what, building connections or like
building connections, because first you gotta be sending fire first and foremost.
Honestly, that's like the main thing at first. How I say I would do it. I don't even know if it was right or wrong. It was just what connected. Like I was just reaching out to as many artists and producers, managers, A&Rs as I could, until something connected. And but I wasn't like really trying to hound people. It was just, shoot a few beats. If I find an email, I'm send some beats for connect.
You said it was kind of sad. You were afraid to speak out. You were afraid to tell people about your work. And you were afraid to play people your work. And so how did you overcome that? That's a great story. And who was the first one that helped you overcome it?
Funny story. I had a session with the artist Akon.
Yeah.
And kept like I was there to like I kept walking past them in the hallways and I never said anything. So once we got to like our session and I started playing beats for him, then he was like, man, I've been walking past you this whole time. Why didn't you say anything to me, you know, about you being a producer and all this and that? And I was like, man, that probably would have you know, helped me a lot with a lot of different sessions that I had if I would have spoke up, you know. And I guess that was a good learning lesson right there for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then again, never doubt yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that was my problem early on. You know,
everybody's problem.
Yeah, coming from like Charlottesville, where it's not really a music scene,
right?
Different sounds, and I hadn't had no big artists, you know, listen to my beats or anything like that. So I was kind of nervous, like coming to Atlanta or going to LA, New York, like, you know, whatever, to like play stuff with people. So I had to kind of get over it by just, you know, hopping out there and facing my fear.
In the hip hop world, I get, and oddly that I get asked, but how do I reach that artist? How do I get my stuff to be heard by that artist? And you had a really kind of unique way to network and stuff. Mm-hmm. Essentially, just be quiet. Everybody came to you. But can you give them a sentence about how you get your stuff? Now you've got, you know, got places on your websites and YouTube and stuff. But I think that people don't think that you actually listen to a lot of that stuff, you know. So anyway, if you can give them a little advice, that'd take the pressure off of me.
I guess as far as like trying to get your beats out there, like I said, man, you know, with social media, it makes it so much easier. You know, if you just reach out through a DM, or hop on Twitter and, you know, tweet an artist, or 9 times out of 10, they're gonna put their email up or their manager will have the email up, you know. Just about either reaching out through social media or, you know, coming to these places like Atlanta or, you know, New York, LA, and networking, you know. Also, as a producer, what I've seen a lot of producers do, and even myself at times, like, you know, collabing with producers leads to other opportunities too. When I did the Roadrunner beat, that happened through Zaytoven, you know. Had I never did that beat with him, I probably wouldn't have got that placement with the Migos. So, you know, it's so many different ways that you can go about it nowadays.
And then one breakthrough tends to lead to another breakthrough.
For sure.
To another breakthrough, right? You're just constantly building, correct?
Most definitely.
I think sometimes that's what brings you the opportunity. Like, your lab was different. It wasn't, you were in the middle of different influences, so you picked and chose what you wanted and didn't really have professionals telling you that you weren't good or you were good. You were just going on faith, right? And then the more you get information out, then you get a positive thing back and it inspires you to go forward. There's a ton of brilliant people who come from little places and don't take the fast path. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I love that, you know, when I hear your stuff described as trippy north-south, because I think that's part of your Charlottesville coming up doing. You describe what that sound is. What does trippy north-south mean?
I mean, because like Charlottesville is one of those places where, to me, growing up, it was like sort of a, like I said, you know, we had all different, you know, the north, the south, west influences. Yeah. And you had the go-go, like from DC and like Maryland and all that stuff. Yeah. And kind of one of them places where I consider it one of those, like you had a lot of underground kind of music going on too, whether it was rock or hip-hop and stuff like that. And it was just like a little hippie area. So I consider it like trippy because just like the people out in Charlottesville, like that I grew up around, you know, the kids I grew up around, we was into a lot of the trippy shit, you know?
I love it. I love it.
I kind of tried to build my sound based off of like how I grew up and my friends, like, you know.
Yep. And look at you now. And look at you now. See, and that, I think that's for our audience why I'm kind of going down that path with you, that you may think you're alone, you may think you don't have a shot, you may think you didn't come from the right place, and the whole time you might be cooking up a masterpiece.
Definitely, man.
You know what I'm saying? So keep that pizza and put another topping on it and put it back in the oven. Like, don't give up. Listen, the three of us together came from places that were unlikely to produce where we all are now. And it was part of it is just, you know, Mark Cuban always says the only thing you can control is your effort.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you clearly, but so what was the breakthrough record where you went from, oh shit, I'm now working on big shit? What record was that?
So I had a record with Yo Gotti and Rich Homie Quan called Bino. And it's crazy. I had found out about that record when I was working at my uncle's little convenience store / it was like a chicken spot. And yeah, I had like, you know, while I was on the clock, I had hid from him in the little bathroom area and took the call. And they were telling me like, man, you got a placement, and how much do you want for the beat? And I was like, oh shit. Like,
right.
So that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on this song, you know. But yeah, that was like the record for me that let me know I was on to something.
And I know the chicken was ridiculous.
The money chicken or the actual chicken?
Well, the actual chicken, your uncle's chicken. I know the money chicken was good, but I think your uncle's chicken was fire. Sure. Yeah.
Culture 3 by Culture 3 Migos. Man, Roadrunner. Woo. Can you break that down for us? How did the session come together? And then your contributions are easily picked out and heard. And then Zaytoven is one of my favorite people. I'd love to have him on the show.
Oh,
but, can you tell us how that came about? Because it's taking them in a little slightly different direction that I like, actually, a lot. I like Roadrunner a lot.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I don't look like I like it a lot, but I like it a lot.
I appreciate that. It came about like right when the pandemic actually started. I had reached out to Zaytoven, and we was talking about working a lot. But you know, when everything started going on and the lockdown happened, we couldn't really get into the studio. So I just, you know, asked him to send me some stuff. He ended up sending me like a bunch of like melodies and things that he was working on, and I just, you know, started adding my own twist to them, adding my drums and everything. And Roadrunner happened to be one of the beats that stood out. I'm sorry.
Is there any truth to my sentence that you like to hear belly sounds and like little tinkly sounds in the background in your loops?
Yeah, I love stuff like that. Yeah,
but I think that's what contributed to your uniqueness, because it's completely the opposite of what, if you compare that bell sound to the 808 sound in that song, you go, these can never work together, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about me, man. I think a lot of it might come from being like, I think that 808s and Heartbreak album inspired me a lot.
Yeah.
The way those just, I don't know, different melodies to those 808s. Yeah, I like what Kanye did with that. And I kind of always wanted to kind of not necessarily build a sound like that, but leave with 808s and melodies and stuff like that the way he did, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know, I often think that part of what Dr. Dre's genius is there's so many things embedded down in stuff that ultimately comes out as hooks. You don't even know you're being hooked.
Right.
It could be voices, sounds, and it's so layered that before you know it, you're grooving on some shit that you don't even, like, he's got you and you don't even know you've been got.
Yeah, it's like it puts you in a trance.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of where you're going. And what I like is you got to be willing to break ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if I was in boxing class this morning and the guy started playing AC/DC, but my head was hearing the funky part of AC/DC.
Right.
And I was having a ball. And the people were looking at me like, what's this old black man doing over here? And man, it was just, but you know, when you hear that part of it and you're able to say, well, let me take that version and add it to this version. You know what I'm saying? And I support so much you doing that, because it just, we're constantly rewriting the rules, you know, like what's in you all's hands.
Because I like to, and I love all different styles of music. Like this morning, I was into like some drum and bass stuff. And
oh yeah.
Like I said, again, being from a place like Charlottesville, you got all these different types of people that come together through music because it's like one of those, types of cities.
Yeah.
I like that same thing when it comes to production. I like to put a little bit of drum and bass, maybe some rock, put my trap, hip hop sound with it, and let that do that.
Yeah.
The industry is trying to nail a sign on your back that says melodic rap, and I don't like that. I don't like that title. I don't like what it stands for, and I don't like anything about it. And you do have some melodies, and they're great, but those two terms don't work together for me. I think we should start a movement to get rid of that. Well, to get rid of all genres, really, because they're useless now. But that one is kind of, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't even like to put like a label on what type of beats I make. That's why I kind of said with my sound is like a trap sound because that's what I'm right now. But I don't know, man. I feel like with my beats, I'm just moving with the time. I never know like what type of beat I'm gonna make. I don't like to be in a box. I just, I get in there and create and do what I got to do and whatever they want to call it.
What's your DAW? What do you work on?
I use FL Studio.
Okay, that's what you started out on, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
I just FL Studio, but I just upgraded all the VSTs and everything.
Well, the one thing that consistently, particularly in the last year, that we have heard from the greats, people who are working like yourself, like when we talked to Louis Bell, he's working on like a 1925 Acer computer that is so old you can't even find parts.
It's run on steam. It does not even electricity.
Yeah, he doesn't have shit, and it is working incredibly. And then we talked to Dave Cobb, bad boy in Nashville. Produces Chris Stapleton and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Herb, I don't know how all this shit works. I sit across from these people and I start with vocals because I'm from a Pentecostal church.
Gotcha.
And if it sounds good there, then we'll build the music around it. We don't do the music first and then the vocal. And I said, Dave, in the black thing, that's called sang. That's not even singing. Like you got people singing, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's an interesting thing that some of the best find the simpler way to get to the truth. And they're not all bogged up with shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So it's a great lesson to the audience, I think, that, what you're doing in your bedroom can work big. Like you don't it's genius to be simple. It's easier to be complicated.
Yeah, most definitely.
Genius. You know what I'm
saying?
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that success brings layers.
Oh yeah.
So success can keep going, right? You went through that process?
Yeah, most definitely. I have a pretty solid team now. And really it's just me, my manager, and I just signed a new producer, but I don't really have bunch of people, around, being a producer, I don't feel like you need so much,
Right.
And
you're right.
Good manager,
Yeah, and you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Producers can roll light. You can get on plane, have your shit, have a, just get your computer and an interface and some headphones and do your thing.
That's it, man. Traveling, just moving around. Like I'll make beats in my room. Or make beats in a major studio, it don't even matter to me.
Do you ever send your beats out with vocals?
I haven't really shopped any songs yet. Nah, It's just making beats. I've recently just started working with writers though, within the last year. So that's one thing that I do want to do.
What do you think about the status of hip hop, where it is, where it's going?
I think it's in a good place. There's so many different subgenres that are winning right now. Back in the day, well, I don't want to say back in the day because, but I say that's like 10 years. People kind of hated on the new sound, and they wanted the old hip hop to come back. And now I feel like it's an even playing field with you got hip hop artists that's doing good. The pop rap that's doing good, the trap, everybody has their own lane.
Yeah.
So I think it's in a great space.
Man, listen, tell me about Spitty Andretti.
Oh yeah, Currency.
Yeah, tell me about that and that record.
Oh yeah, man. Working with Currency, man, it's been dope, man. We did 40 songs in like 4 days, man, and like it's all quality music. Like I just can't wait till like we actually drop this new project that we have coming. We just dropped the group project, but that was like a taste test of what's.
Oh, I like that. I'm actually going to use taste test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about the effort you put into developing your own sound, and I thought that was something that the audience needs to know. You can't use somebody else's sound and go all the way to the top. You have to be inventive. But where do you start? How do you develop your sound? Well, you just go in your studio and just work for 10, 12 years, right?
I mean, honestly, that's really what I did. I feel like I kind of locked off and just tried to work on building my own sound. You know, I stopped paying attention to what everybody else was doing, you know, and just building my own thing. And that's what even working with different artists that I've, you know, come in contact with, like I know the reason why they're so known for their sounds because they not worried about what's going on in the industry and what people are listening to. They're worried about staying true to themselves. You know? So, yeah.
That's so important. Even in my, you know, I'm a mix engineer, and that's real important in my profession too, which can get stale pretty quick sometimes because it's, you know, you got to have speed, and sometimes you don't want to experiment. But
right.
Yeah, I think that's true with all creativity. Really,
it's important in life.
Yeah.
You know, being who you are allows you to walk tall. When you're twisted into a knot, trying to be something you're not only you're not fooling yourself, you're stressing yourself the hell out. Like it's just easier to tell the truth, right?
Trying to go from the next wave, that way of life falls off. You're trying to do this thing that's popping now. You're just going from thing to thing until it's falling off, like, you know, until it's gone. And when it's all gone, you don't have no identity.
That's right. You're punking yourself. That's really what it is. You play keyboards? Is that your thing?
Man, I play a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. With my beats, like I do play a little bit, but honestly, with the way that I make beats, is more so like clicking. It's like putting puzzles. That's why melodies, because they'll think like, man, did you play that? And I'm just sitting there clicking with a mouse. But it's like I'm pretty good with keys and stuff like that. So yeah.
There's a video online people should look up where you're actually working out a keyboard part, and it was interesting because you could hear yourself searching for what you wanted, and then when it all came together, it was beautifully unique. I don't know if you remember the video, but it was like I think there's a definite advantage to being self-taught in a lot of creative endeavors, because teachers tend to make you come out a parrot of them, and so it's hard to be unique, and you have to fight that when you're in school. You know, being unique. Don't come out like your teacher.
No, for sure.
You didn't have to worry about that. That's a good thing.
I feel like that kind of gave me an advantage with creating, because like I'm like right in the middle. I know enough. I don't feel like I know everything, so I'm still a student and still trying to learn how to find other ways to approach melodies. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I do. And for whatever it's worth, from all the people we've interviewed over 10 years and 500 episodes, all the best never feel like they got there. All the ones who are giants are still curious, still hungry, still trying to fit. Same thing in sports.
Right.
If you like hoops, the best Devin Booker or LeBron or whoever, look at what Atlanta did.
Right.
Trae Young, you know, I've had arguments all day about Atlanta got the best trade when they got Lou Williams as opposed and let go of Rondo. And I like Rondo, but they're always striving to be competitive and be the best. And that's the game we're in, let alone in our game, but that's part of life. But in our game, for sure, you got to keep.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And, you know, with doing music, it's like we're always trying to get better with time and you know, create more new sounds and stuff like that. So I feel like if I would have had that approach to this music industry, well, not music industry, had this approach to creating sounds like I knew everything, I probably would love back. So I like being in a space where, I know enough to get me there, but I'm still learning. I want to learn more.
Never give that up, man. That'll keep you relevant, keep your chips high. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've learned it with the show. Like the moment you relax and say, "Oh, we're the shit," the moment somebody cuts your knees off. You know what I'm saying?
Some 20-year-old kid from wherever just snipe me, but just come right in.
Oh, and you don't even know where it came from. You're just woozy and shit. So when did that shit happen? So yeah, man. Do you ever get out to LA?
Yeah, actually, I was just in LA working with Currency on our project about 2-3 weeks ago.
All right. Yeah. Well, next time you're in, you gotta hit us up and let us know so we can.
Y'all based in LA.
Yeah. We'll come by the studio or something.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, we have a studio in Burbank, so.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're not far from there at all. So, Dave, you got your batter's box teed up?
I do.
Oh man.
All right. Now he's in Atlanta and he's from Charlottesville, and the athletes that come out of there are serious. So,
Well, I spent 20 years of my life in Atlanta. So
that's right.
Started my career in Atlanta.
This could be an Atlanta.
Atlanta just didn't want to pay me. That's the only problem I had.
Got to go find the check. All right, here we go. Batter's box.
Favorite scent?
Omnisphere.
Favorite DAW?
FL Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Major key or minor key?
Right now, minor.
Yeah, me too. Bells.
I don't even know what to say for that one. To be honest with that one, I don't even know. Favorite. Favorite song.
Okay, good answer. 808s.
Man, foundation of the beat.
Yeah.
While we're in that frequency spectrum, bass.
I would say vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest influence growing up?
Dang, only one?
No,
I'll take whatever you want to give me, but yeah. Okay. Give me 5 in order.
5 in order? All right.
You the one that wants more. I'll give it to you.
That's cool. I can do that. So my 5 influences, producer-wise, would be Jay Dilla, Alchemist, I say the Neptunes, probably it's a tie between like Quincy and Dr. Dre. I don't know. That's gonna be a tie between.
That's a good list, though.
Now I get it. That's still waters run deep, man. Favorite vocal effects?
Honestly, I don't really use too many vocal effects. And Exhale is cool. I like Exhale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your favorite BPM?
That's the secret sauce, man.
Okay. I can't tell that.
It's like between like a 150 and a 170. I stay in that range, and I make these double time, so it's like it's like between that range. I like to stay in because I like more upbeat, like
make your body move.
Yeah.
Get some bounce to it.
Right.
Absolutely. Man, listen, the beauty of us being able to, and first of all, thank you for working on a Friday.
Oh my!
We up in here too. The beauty of our audience being able to meet people who are just like them, but your drive proves to them that you can go someplace with that drive. You ain't got to be from the hot city. You ain't got to have privilege. You need to have fire in your belly and movement in your ass and you know what I'm saying? And hustle. And the music business is an entrepreneurial business. And you got to kind of have your entrepreneurial straps on. And then you go do it, man. I think we're big fans of the talent that runs through Virginia and out of DC and all that kind of stuff. There's so many ridiculously good people on the production side, on the talent side, on the engineer side. Ridiculous heat, and you clearly represent the fraternity. If you had to wrap up the show, if you had one piece of advice for our audience, what would it be?
Man, just bet on yourself. That's the main thing I tell everybody that asks me for advice.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself.
I think that's great advice, man. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Trauma Tone and DP. We'll see the audience next week.